Hi, I'm Eileen Roche, founder of Designs and Machine Embroidery, and welcome to today's episode of Between Friends. I'm so glad you're here to join me today. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to install a zipper on an embroidery machine with an embroidery machine. We're not going to put the zipper in the embroidery machine. We're going to install it with an embroidery machine. It's something that my stitching sister and I did years ago. And the method has, well, there's two different methods, and we're going to look at both. You know, I'm so excited to see all of you joining, but I have to give a shout out to Marjorie Hirschberger. This comment just came in right before we were going to go live, and she's greeting us from Lancaster, PA, and she just returned from Ocean City, New Jersey for 5 days at the beach. Now, Marjorie, I grew up in Wildwood Crest, just 30 minutes south on the Parkway. And I'm hoping when you spent those 5 days in Ocean City that you had pizza at Manco and that you had a Core Brothers ice cream cone and Johnson's popcorn. So let me know in the comments. And if you didn't have any of those things, you know, they are kind of childhood foods. You know, maybe we're not all eating like that today. But once in a while, when you're on vacation, it's good to do those kind of fun foods. So let's see, Dawn Tennyson, you just got your machine back from service. Yippee-ki-yay, I'm sure that's making you happy so that you can get stitching again. And hi, Judy Warren, aloha, it's so nice to have you here. Ginger in Ohio. And Kay up in Michigan, Saginaw, Michigan. And Betty Turner, you are in wet, oh, they come in so fast. Sorry, you're in Wet Rolla, Missouri. Wow. And Judith Whitlock up in Montana. I hope it's a nice day up there. Marjorie says, absolutely. You're my kind of girl. Oh, I love it. I'm so glad you enjoyed those special summer treats on the Ocean City Boardwalk. Oh, a lot of fun at the Jersey Shore. And it's not all about, you know, that MTV show, The Jersey Shore, which kind of really ruined the reputation of the Jersey Shore. You know, many East Coast people that grew up in Philadelphia, Baltimore, New York have fond fondmemories of childhood vacations on those beautiful, safe beaches where, you know, the smell of Hawaiian tropic suntan lotion just takes me back. So much fun. Let's see. Edward, you're up in, well, you're really Donna, I think, signing in as Edward, and you're up in North Idaho. Another beautiful part of our country. And Jennifer, it is all about the food in the ocean for sure. I see I'm not the only one who, you know, connects memories with food, right? And Judith Whitlock, you grew up in Maryland? Oh, that's lovely. Beautiful country up there. And Eagle River, it's really fun to have all of you here. So today we are going to talk about installing a zipper with an embroidery machine. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, if you are a sewist, if you've been sewing your whole life or for many years, then inserting a zipper may not be a challenge for you. It's something you could do in, you know, just minutes. But for many people who start out with just embroidery and never really sewed, installing a zipper can be quite a challenge. And an embroidery machine is a wonderful tool for duplicating, you know, specific tasks like inserting a zipper. So we're going to use our embroidery machine to do that. But before we do it, I want to talk about a thread because it's, you know, it's what we start with, right? And Jennifer, I just give you a shout out, Ocean City, Maryland. And, you know, there are 2 ocean cities on the East Coast, probably maybe more for all we know, right? And you have Thrasher's Fried, whatever that is. I don't know that, but sounds good. Sounds really yummy. Okay, so let's take a look at what we look for in a thread. First off, color, right? That's our That's what draws us in as embroiderers. We just, we're kind of talk about cotton candy, right? Or eye candy. It's the thread that draws us in. Well, our exquisite poly is a 40 weight thread, and it has 288 colors. We also have real thread charts, real thread wrapped around a piece of cardboard, so that when you, if you purchase this and have this in your sewing room and you are selecting thread, you're really selecting it by the thread and not just a digital image. Now, we do also have a free PDF of a digital conversion chart that you can access on our website. There's the link you see right below the image here, which is Shop Designs Collections Thread. And you can go download that PDF conversion chart, and it kind of does all brands. So our thread has a brilliant sheen. And the best part about it, well, there's several things, but it is really trouble-free stitching. It's not going to shred. It's not going to break unless there's some gnarly thing that's happened with the digitizing. It's a thread that many sewing machine retailers depend on when they are showing an embroidery machine to a potential buyer. And boy, that's really the time when you don't want thread shredding, right? So what else is it? It's color fast because it's polyester, and it has an easy snap spool. So let's look at, just some pretty images of the thread. So, the fiber is polyester, so it's going to be a strong thread, and it is color fast. It's not going to wash out or fade in the wash. So let's see, and the sheen, isn't it all about the sheen? Embroidery thread always has a lovely glossy finish on it that again draws us into a design. And that's, what we love about thread. The color fastness, we want to be able, this is a placemat that you're looking at here. And it is, going to be thrown into the wash, and you want it to hold that color. And so a polyester 40 weight thread will guarantee that. It has an easy snap spool base. So that bottom will snap apart, stays with the cone itself, but then you are able to place the thread tail in that slot and then snap the base closed, and then it is secure. And let's see, Susan Starty, you love the thread. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that you're a fan. And Denise Foltz, pretty colors. Aren't they pretty? We just love the summer colors, don't we? They're just enticing for sure. What else do we have? So speaking of color, we want a deep library of color. We want to have a large variety of low value, medium value, and dark value of each colorway. So meaning light, medium, and dark. And the exquisite thread line has 288 colors for all your needs. And it's very affordable. It's a value-priced thread, so that you can grow your stash of embroidery thread without really hurting the bank account. And it's a very reasonably priced. This week we have on special our summer 24 spool kit of thread. And just like its name, it is full of summery colors. You're going to find some light yellows up to a deep yellow, orange, pinks, greens, teals, and even a couple orchids and blues. Everything you need to really express summer. My t-shirt that I'm wearing says cheers on the bottom of those stems, and it's 3 different stems, 3 different goblets of summery drinks, right? There's a kind of a raspberry, an orange, and a lilac, and all of those came from the summer thread kit. So much fun. Yeah, Jennifer Alexander, you love those colors. I do too. They just make me want to be eating, a slice of mac and mango pizza on the Ocean City Boardwalk when I think of those colors, for sure. Okay, let's see. So what did I do with the summer kit? Well, besides the t-shirt, I made this little cosmetic box, and I filled it with a rainbow of hexes. So let's go over to software and take a look at how I did that. So in our software, we're going to have a brand new screen, and I'll go to the artwork tool. And as I scroll down, you can see all the different choices I have for drawing a fixed shape. So a hexagon is one, and I just left click on the work surface on the workspace and drag the cursor. Now with that selected, I will check its size, and it's a little big. I just really want it to be 1 inch, and I'll click apply. And maybe we want it just a little taller to make it, more evenly shaped. There we go. Now I'm going to convert that into a complex fill. And with that selected, let's see, I'm going to go from a fill type to an embossed, from a tatami standard to an embossed. And then when I click on, you can click on the 3D view icon, you can see now I have some really interesting texture. So I'm going to copy and paste that. And I'm going to convert the second one to a run, because I really just want a border around the design. And now with that selected, I'll go to the repeat tool, and I want to do 6 hexagons across the width and 4 down. I'll put a check marks in offset every other row and click apply. And there we have it. Now they're all going to be identical, but I can take the time to select a hexagon and change the color by just clicking on the color tabs at the bottom of the screen. I've already created my palette of the 24 exquisite colors that are in that palette. And so I can change all 24. But also, while I'm at it, I'm going to select that complex fill and make some changes. Go ahead and play with some of these different looks that are in here. And I most certainly can change the size of these different designs and the textures. It's just so much fun. Now, I'm not going to make you watch me do all 24, but I thought you'd like to see what it looked like when I finished. Isn't that fun? So each color that you see is a hexagon with that embossed fill, and each one has an outline. So when I travel through this design, you can see it's going to stitch each one beautifully and then do that outline. It's so fast, you barely even see it stitch the outline, but it does go all the way around. Yeah, and that's just so much fun to stitch, right? So let me see if you have any questions about the software, because I know some of you, yeah, it is cool, isn't it? Denise, you think it's cool. Dawn, you think it's so pretty. They are. They are. You love the t-shirt. I know. I love the t-shirt too. And I'll give a shout out to my friends over at Urban Threads. It's their design. It says cheers down the stem. It's really cute. Super cute. Yep. Could wear this on New Year's or some fun thing like that. But isn't the software fun? It's so easy to do. And all of those designs, I mean, all of those shapes are set in the software. They're, in Perfect Embroidery Pro. So that's just super easy to do. Judy Warren, you want to know, can you add Mylar? You sure can add Mylar. So what I would do to that, I would probably not change that complex fill to the embossed design, because I'm going to have to reduce the density of the complex fill so that the Mylar can shine through. And when I do that, I could very well lose the pattern of the embossed. So let's see, Natalie Bush, you want to know, what would you use a design like this for? Well, I would use it on a cosmetic bag. Let's go take a look. Here we have our all stitched out. Isn't that adorable? So here's all of my different embossed hexagons. Each one has a different embossed pattern in it. And on the other side, it's just plain complex fill. And you can really see the difference between, this is beautiful color for sure, just lovely. But this one really comes to life when you can see all those different patterns. And, as the light, reflects off of it. Each one just portrays a different image. Super fun. So this zipper was put on with my embroidery machine. So that's what we're going to show you, what you could do with making a pattern of hexes like this. And I love the hex designs. You see this in quilting often, where they make pillows with all these tiny hexagons, which is really a nice thought, but wow, a lot of work to make all those hexes out of fabric. When with just a couple clicks of my software, I kind of get the same look, and all I have to do is change thread. So fun. Okay, so let's take a look at, so first, let's take a better look at this. Of course, I have something in there. This is a lined bag, and that's what we're going to do in the hoop today. I'm going to show you that. So we added the lining to the zipper and the top fabric all in one hooping. And we're going to be working from the wrong side of the hoop and the front. And on this one, same way, we did the very same technique, but this time we have foam in there. And easy to manage as long as you control where the foam is. This is one of those, so-shaped foam bags. And then, of course, we have one more. This was my experiment to make sure this was all going to work out. And again, this is a zipper, and it has the lining. So you can see that it is beautiful and perfect zipper application. So for those of you who are a little bit challenged with inserting zippers on your sewing machine, this is something that you can do without sewing it. Just depend on your embroidery machine. It's always so dependable. So let's go ahead and bring out our hoop. Now, I've learned a couple things, right? we only learn by doing. No, not always, but now, normally, maybe if you're like me, you would think when you were making a zipper that you would put the zipper this way in the hoop. But because we're going to be adding fabric on the back of the hoop, I'm going to use the height of the hoop, and I'll show you what I mean. So I've already stitched color 1, which is a placement guide for the zipper. The zipper placement guide is the very same width of the zipper, and it is the length of the bag, whatever my length is that I need. I believe this is 7 inches. You're going to get a zipper that is much longer than you need, at least 2 inches, if not 3 inches longer than the finished zipper, because you want the ends and most certainly that tab to be out of harm's way when we're on the embroidery machine and stitching. So I'm going to use just regular Scotch tape, transparent tape, and I am making sure that my zipper is positioned right in that outline. And I'm going to tape it down. And this tape I'm placing, actually this one is a little close to the coil. You don't need to get that close to the coil. You're really better off just kind of kissing the edge of the zipper, because it's probably better if the foot doesn't touch the tape. Can you stitch on tape? You sure can. But I've taught this all over the country to hundreds of embroiderers, so I have seen everything that could possibly go wrong. So if I suggest to you to keep the tape out of harm's way, it's a good idea. Okay, so right now we're going to go back to the machine. We're going to go over to the machine, and we're going to apply our lining. But first, let's take a look at our lining. So this is the right side of the lining. That's what I have a pin in there. And I have fused down a 1/2 inch on the folded edge, and I've applied a basting tape, washable basting tape, to the wrong side. So I'm going to flip my hoop over, and I will apply, now I can't remember which one's first, but I'm going to, see, I get on camera and I get confused. Okay, so what we need to do is go tack down that zipper. Let's go do that, and then we'll come back and do that next step. Okay, so I'm going to attach my hoop. It's pinned in place, lower the presser foot, and we'll stitch the tack down. Now it's going to stitch along the zipper tape, and it's going to stop at the edge of the zipper, and it'll cross over the coil. Now, if you digitize this yourself, you can digitize it so that it actually stitches across the coil, but I just kind of thought it would be best to do it in this fashion. So now I'm going to add my back. Not my back, but my lining. So I have, now I can see where that line is, and I'm going to place my folded edge right at that line, and I have that tacky tape that's holding it in place. I'm also going to use this pin to pin from the front the lining to the top of the hoop. Just because when I slide this hoop on, there's a good chance that this could, get caught and then stitch into that area. So I'm just going to take the time to secure it with a straight pin. Now, when I go to the machine, I'm holding the hoop by my hand, and then I'm just going to slide it onto the machine. I'm keeping care of that lining behind the hoop. And let's see, I'm just, it's always good if you're sitting at the machine to just kind of feel and make sure your lining is in place. And I'm really hoping that this is going to stitch that tack down. So let's see. Yes, ma'am. It's going to tack down. And now I'm using black thread. I wouldn't do that. So Melanie Campbell, you want to know what size hoop I'm using? I'm actually using a 9.5 by 9.5. But I'm on camera, and that's overkill, and that's why I'm doing that, because I'm just setting myself up for success. So you can't see me flub any more than I am flubbing. Okay, so next up is stitching the tack down for the other piece of lining. And then I'm going to take the hoop off and place the back in position. So I'll bring this over here so you can get a better look. And you can see I caught that, the folded edge just perfectly. Probably could have done a little bit better. Now I'm going to remove my protective paper, and I'm going to place the edge of that folded edge. I also want to make sure at this point that the edges of my lining are even. Piece number 2 is even with piece number 1. So we're going to finger press that in place. Take that pin out, and now you have to be really careful when you do this, because everything wants to dislodge. So there we go. And then I'll just flip that over, and see if the pin did not get secured. Then I can just give it the slightest push from the back so that it's capturing both the stabilizer and the fabric. Now we're going to go back to the machine and reattach that. And I can feel that everything's in place. And why doesn't it want to go over to the next spot? Let's see. Okay. There we go. And now it's going to tack down the lining. Then we're going to repeat that process for the front. So Melanie Campbell, I'm using our tearaway wash away. And that because it just tears nicely and easily. And then when I wash that bag, it will, just like turn into tissue paper, like kind of fiberish. All right, so now we're going to go, just going to bring that over to the machine and over to the table. All right, I'm just trying to set my machine. Just bear with me a minute. All right. Okay, So my back looks pretty good, right? Now, one of my friends there said that she always tapes her lining. Brilliant. That's brilliant. So let's do that because we're going to go back and forth a couple times, right? So we'll just tape down those corners and then they won't get caught. Now, whenever you do tape the back of a hoop, be very careful that you don't have any edges of the tape lifted up that could get caught on the machine bed. You want to make sure that it's nice and smooth. Now, in this bag, I'm just going to do I did a fusible fleece material on the inside of the bag, but you could also do foam. But for this demonstration, I'm just using the fusible fleece. Okay, so now I want to make sure that the folded edge is even with my lining in the back and it's just along the coil. Not quite at the coil, but very close. And I can do both sides now because I don't have to worry about coming off the machine again. And again, I'm making sure my bag, edges are even and that my folded edge is very close to that coil, but not on it. And then got to make sure that it's a nice straight line. Okay, now I'm confident to go over to the machine and it's going to stitch here. And maybe I should change thread colors because I have a black in there now. So let's go ahead and change the thread color so you can really see that stitching when it comes time. Because black on a deep blue, not so great, right? So another favorite shade of mine is green, and we most certainly have beautiful greens in that summer 24 kit. And just get this threaded, depend on that beautiful aha threader. What is the issue? Okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to have a little seat here for a minute. And now, you can always double check and just get a good look at the machine, at the foot, and see where that needle's going to drop. If you feel that it's not going to hit the fold, we'll take a moment now, lift the foot, and readjust that fabric. That's the beauty of that basting tape. It's not permanent. You can change your mind at the last minute. Okay, so we're going to tack down this edge, and then we're going to go to the other design and tack that down. Look how slick that is. I love it. So even, so straight. It's beautiful. And then we'll do the next one. Lower the presser foot. All in one pass, we're going to get both of the outer fabric sections stitched to the zipper. Isn't that fun? Oh my goodness. When you do this on an embroidery machine, you just get a sense of pride. It really makes you feel so proud that you were able to accomplish this. It's awesome. Okay, let's go over to the overhead so you can get a better look. Isn't that cool? See how nice and tight that is right along that fold? It's just beautiful. I know, really love that. Okay, super fun. Oh, Linda Ryder. Well, welcome from Pennsylvania. We were talking about Ocean City, New Jersey earlier. Maybe you're close to there. You could check that out in northeastern PA. And of course, if you didn't see the whole program, you can watch the replay for sure. No, Kathy, I'm not going to post this design at this time. I just thought that this was a good teaching lesson. I know many in the hoop projects call for zippers, and I thought, you would just like to see, how I would do it and how you could also do it. And of course, if you have digitizing software, then you can duplicate that also in your software. So let's see what up is. I want to share some tips with you on what you would need before you do this. So I like to use a nylon zipper, one that's at least 2 to 3 inches longer than the opening. I use Fuse Me to secure the folded edge of the lining and the outer fabric because I fold down a 1/2 inch, and then I fuse that shut with Fuse Me, which is a fusible web product and, permanently holds that in place. And then the double-sided basting tape, there's Clover makes some, Dritz makes some, you can find that. You could also use a spray adhesive if you wanted, but that's what's going to hold your outer and lining fabric to the zipper tape itself. Your thread should match the fabric. Okay, now for the lining, you can probably use a bobbin that matches the lining, or just, be fine with having a contrasting thread on the lining. And then I use the tear away, wash away stabilizer because I do want to remove it, that I can tear it away and just, then it's gone. That's the key, right? Then it's gone. Now, that's how to put a zipper in. That's a concealed zipper, in an inner and outer lining. But you could also do it where the zipper is part of the design. So let's take a look at that. Here's a little eyeglass case. My sister and I used to teach this all over the country. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. You can see it's skinny. It's only about 4 inches wide. It's about 8 inches tall. And it has that's a quilted fabric. So the fabric is a quilt sandwich. It's already, has quilted fabric on the wrong side of the quilt sandwich. So there's no lining because, it's already there. Okay, color 1 is the outline of the top section of the eyeglass case and the bottom section. It also has a straight line that indicates where the zipper coil will wind up. And so the directions are, that we taught people was to place the quilted fabric just below that straight line and covering that placement guide. So that's one section of the fabric. And then you stitch the next color, which is a tack down. You'll add the other section of fabric. This is the lower portion of the eyeglass case. And stitch, make sure again that you're covering the placement guide, but that the fabric is not on that straight coil line. And you'll stitch that outline. And then you'll place the zipper right side up. So this is right side up, and I use dark blue tape, painter's tape, so that you could see the use of where the tape is placed, because we want to securely hold the ends of the zipper to the stabilizer and fabric. And then you stitch a decorative stitch to embellish the zipper. And that's going to permanently attach the zipper to those fabrics and yet be a decorative element. Next up, open the zipper. This is key. You must open the zipper into about the middle of the case, because you want to make sure that you're going to, when you turn this right side out, you'll be able to turn it right side out, access the opening. But also you want to make sure that that zipper tab is not close to a stitch line, because you most certainly don't want to stitch on the zipper tab. Then you're going to place your backing fabric. This is the outer, this is the back side of the eyeglass case. You'll place that right sides together over the work that's in the hoop, and you'll stitch the next color, which will tack it all down. You take it out of the hoop, tear away that stabilizer, and trim away the excess tape. Yes. Let's see. So Joy, in that instance, I'm using a 5x7 hoop, because that design is 4 by 6.5 inches, I believe. And Jennifer Alexander, yeah, if you don't open the zipper, it is useless. And you can't open a zipper from the wrong side. So good to know. Yep. Let's see. Joy also, she says, so many things can be made in the hoop. Oh, absolutely. It just amazes me. You can refinish necklines. You can add straps to handbags in the hoop. And oh my goodness, so much, so much. Yeah, it's really fun. Okay, so next up, let's take a look at On the House, because we have a new On the House project this month, but I wanted to revisit last week, which was Sunny Girl. And we saw several people jumped on the Sunny Girl bandwagon and did some projects. But I also wanted to point out that Sunny Girl uses almost all the threads that are found in the 24 summer kit. So if you're looking to expand your your thread library, then Sunny Girl is a good example of a design to stitch. And of course, that summer kit is perfect for all those thread colors. So we found that Susan Timchak did this on a towel. Now that's a microfiber towel. This was not Sunny Girl. She did a butterfly that we had released a couple weeks ago. A very pretty design, kind of an open airy design, and it looks really well. It looks very nice on that microfiber towel. And then Susan also she called her Groovy Girl. And she, last week we had two versions of Sunny Girl. One was smaller, and she just had the head and the fun sunglasses and the flower in her hair. So that's what Susan put on her cosmetic bag. Very, very nice. But we also had a 5x7 version, which was a much larger, with the bikini on, well, not a bikini, but the summer top and so forth, and the braid in her hair and some flowers adorning the area. It's just really pretty. Now, Lisa Knight is one of our educators, and she did a beautiful job on it. And she added the words beach vibes and also added 2 palm trees to the right of beach vibes. Very, very nice. Oh, and Susan, I gave you credit for Groovy Girl, but it wasn't your stitch out. Oh, I apologize. That's my bad. I don't know whose that is, and I can't find out right now. Oh boy. I hope whoever it is will forgive me, and I will show it next week. I'll show Groovy Girl again, assigned to the right maker. So pardon me for sure. Tammy Madden, she did Wherever You Go, Bring Your Own Sunshine. Love that on a zip bag. Looks really cute. Oh, let's see. It must have been Diana Mullins Atkinson. Was that you, Groovy Girl? Was that you? Please tell. Please tell. Diana Mullins Atkinson is one of our dime educators also, and she's done a beautiful job on her samples. Here is Carolyn Hargrave, and she did 2. So she showed the small and the large, and she's from Needle Quirks. Oh, I love Sunny Girl. Sunny Girl could be blonde, she could be gray, she could be auburn, she could be dark brown, she could be black, she could be any color that hair that you decide. It's just a very versatile design, but most certainly screams summer. Okay, our project for this week is a napkin holder, a firecracker napkin ring. So it just has a limited amount of designs, of threads, and it's so easy to stitch. They stitch up in like under 5 minutes. In the download, you will find a PDF file, SFG and FCM files for you to pre-cut the pieces, because it is a freestanding, let's call it an applique, I guess, but really it's kind of a patch. We're just not going to apply it to anything. And it's going to be fun to adorn your holidays, your summer patriotic tables with these firecrackers. So let's take a look at the process. Pre-cut the firecracker body and the top of the firecracker. You'll notice there's 2 circle openings in the firecracker body, and they are there for good reason, because that's how you're going to thread ribbon through those eyelets so that you can tie the firecracker around a napkin. Okay, color 1, you're going to stitch on our heavy-duty water-soluble stabilizer, and stitch the outline, the placement guide of the upper portion. Then you'll place the pre-cut upper portion on the outline and stitch the tack down. The next color 3 is the placement guide for the body, and you'll place that into position, followed by the tack down. Next up is the stripes, just to add a little bit of fun. And then there's some stars in the body and some stars in the top. and then you'll push it out of the heavy duty stabilizer. As you can see here, that opening, I just want you to know you just push it right through the stabilizer. It separates very easily with those beautiful satin stitches. And Susan, you want to know, do you have to pre-cut? Well, you don't have to, you can do whatever you'd like, Susan, right? You don't ever have to follow the instructions, but it is a zigzag tack down. So it's going to be difficult to get scissors close to that zigzag tack down that will then cover the raw edge will then be covered with the satin, because, a pre-cut, the tack down zigzag is actually going to wrap around the raw edge of that applique. And then the beautiful satin will cover all of that. So that's why we made it a pre-cut. But, that's the easy way to do it for sure. Okay, what's next? So it's as you know, today's lesson was brought to you by our exquisite 40-weight summer kit, 24 spools. And I hope that you take advantage of that special, especially if you're trying to expand your library. And Retha, I'm sorry that you're at a memorial service in Wisconsin. We appreciate you joining us here today. We'll be thinking of you. Let's see. Natalie says, idea, run the placement twice. On the second, you can cut fabric. Yeah, you can try that. But a placement guide is larger, just a tad larger than the tack down. So Susan Tardy, you'll see the offer and the special when you click through. I'm not quite sure if free shipping is included this week. So next week, we have an exciting guest. We're going to talk all about edge-to-edge quilting. I have Christine Connor from Emily Scott Designs, and she's the author of Edge-to-Edge Quilting, and she's going to be here next week at 1 o'clock. I'm so excited to connect with her again. It's been a while since I've actually chatted with Christine. So we're going to do some tips on edge-to-edge quilting. We're going to do 20 questions with Christine so that we can all get to know her a little bit better. So please bring your questions on edge-to-edge quilting with your embroidery machine, or any topics that you would like Christine and I to address. We're really looking forward to it. Yep. And so thank you all for joining me today. It was a pleasure to be here. And I hope you have a lovely Memorial Day weekend for those of you who are in the U.S. And a big thank you to all of our veterans who have served our country in the armed forces. So, we think of Memorial Day as a celebration, but truly it is to remember our fallen heroes. Bye for now. We'll see you next week.